Every time you think you want to bring about transformation or build a business and you think you have to bring everybody together to get that happen, how many times have you succeeded with that strategy? It doesn't really work. Crazy people who want to change the world, they just go out there and get things done. If we think that we need to tear down people or bring down any individual that wants to rise and feel like they are strong and they can do something, then we are not helping the little child in the village who believes that someday they too can be president, they too can be a CEO, they too can build a company. That is the spirit in America, that we celebrate the individual. We are not celebrating the individual just for that individual. We are celebrating that individual and also showing the little child down the street that it is possible for you to do so. But if we think that it is a cooperative effort for that to happen, guess what happens? Every individual is waiting for another person to do it. Everybody is waiting for another person to stand up and do something. And guess what? Nothing ever gets done. If you look at a nation like America compared to a nation like Cameroon, we believe in cooperative effort. That is, everybody need to come together. We need to go seek maybe the permission of the government or the governor and all of that to get stuff done, to bring about transformation. But if you look at a nation like America, most of the businesses, institutions have been transformed by very few individuals. That is why you hear stories like Martin Luther King Jr., you hear stories like Steve Jobs, you hear stories of people like Will Smith, you hear stories of great minds that have transformed this nation, Oprah Winfrey. You will hear stories of individuals like this. Why? Because this country supports the individual rising up with their initiative and bringing about transformation. And when they do that, the entire nation begins to celebrate them. Why? Because imagine you've tried projects, whoever is watching this video, I just want to let you, every time you think you want to bring about transformation or build a business and you think you have to bring everybody together to get that happen, how many times have you succeeded with that strategy? It doesn't really work. Crazy people who want to change the world, they just go out there and get things done. And most of the time they don't need a group. They don't need a vote. They just do it. And we should be able to identify that with a leader. Jesus Christ never had a community of people who came together to agree on the new philosophy on how to bring about salvation. He just went out there, got some 12 guys, and they changed the world. Yes. And I just want to let you know, it is consistent throughout history. It is consistent throughout history. Great people just get out there and they get things done. So, if we think that we need to tear down people or bring down any individual that wants to rise and feel like they are strong and they can do something, then we are not helping the little child in the village who believes that someday they too can be president, they too can be a CEO, they too can build a company. That is the spirit in America, that we celebrate the individual. We are not celebrating the individual just for that individual. We are celebrating that individual and also showing the little child down the street that it is possible for you to do so. But if we think that it is a cooperative effort for that to happen, guess what happens? Every individual is waiting for another person to do it. Everybody is waiting for another person to stand up and do something. And guess what? Nothing ever gets done. But once we celebrate every individual rising and believing that something good can come out of them. Because here in America, friends, let me tell you, when I've stepped in many buildings, halls, and organizations and companies and actually made great prophecies or say things that I wanted to do in the belief that I have in my vision and my dreams, those people never laughed. They never mocked at me. They never say it's impossible. They are watching. They say, go ahead, we're watching. Why? Because they don't know what can come out of you, so they are curious. Curiosity is the word. They don't step on like, well, who are you? Who do you think you are? No, let's see what he's up to. Let's see what he's going to come up with. And they're watching you. Some people might not cooperate with you, but they will tell you, we're seeing you. Keep on going. We will see what's going to come out of you. That is the reality here in this nation. But if we see someone coming up with a great idea, like, oh, who do you think you are? Nothing comes out of them. That discouragement slows them down. And another thing I just want to emphasize on as I wrap up this program is to let us know, like, guys, everything you see around you was created by those who are not smarter than you. Confidence is one of the key things that you need to succeed in life. And that confidence comes from your community, your family, your friends, and people who believe in you. You see, America, there is the American dream. The American dream is what motivates every individual in this nation to step out there and do something with their lives. We need a unanimous dream that guides our nation. What does the Cameroon dream look like? We need to be able to paint that on a picture, paint it, have a picture of what the Cameroon dream look like, so that every child growing up knows that if I hit that mark, I have achieved that Cameroon dream. We don't have that. It's just looking at, oh, what's going on? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, what are these guys doing? What are they doing? Oh, is it cool? Is it nice? Okay, I'll copy that. Now, what does the Cameroon dream look like? Is it a life where you're able to grow up, study, believe in yourself, go out there, do something great, provide for your family, build a house, drive your own car, be able to provide for your own medical expenses and health and all of that? What does that dream look like? What does that dream look like? We should craft that. It won't come from the government. It will come from you, Cameroonians. You have to design what that Cameroon dream looks like. And every child growing up should know that that is what you aspire to be. At the minimum, be that. In America, the American dream, you should be able to own your own house. You should be able to have a good job that pays you. You should be able to believe in yourself and let your greatness be celebrated by all. As you achieve these things, we celebrate you. That is America. We put the individual and we raise them up and show others that you too can do the same. And guess what that happens? Everyone is working extremely hard in whatever gift they have so that they can be able to be celebrated just like that. And you cannot do that trying to preach collective effort, because it has been proven. Even God himself never created us to live that way. We live in a community, but we are individuals. And it's that individual creativity, that individual genius, when it is expressed, it brings light to all of us and in our communities. So let's celebrate every individual that has greatness. And there are two reasons why I'm saying all of these things. Because some people are like, oh, I don't care. Obviously, you shouldn't if you don't want to. But the reality is, if you don't care, your children, you are going to suffer first. You're probably not respected the way you think wherever you find yourself. You're probably not loved and cared for wherever you find yourself. You're shaken, you're threatened, you feel like something goes wrong, you'll be repatriated, you will not be able to have maybe refuge or anything. You're scared. So I want to let you, living in that fear is not a good thing. Another thing to consider is your children will grow up in that same state. Very soon you'll be old. If you're in your 30s, or maybe you're in your 20s, or maybe you're in your teens, very soon you're going to get old. You'll be 40, you'll be 50, you'll be 60. And you will still live in that condition. It might be even worse if you don't do something about it. If you don't rise up and support the great among you guys and elevate your nation to the standard that you want, nobody else will do it for you. And so you remain a beggar. And if you think you don't care, there's no need to say there is an 80-20. There's no need to have maybe a unity and pride for your own nation. If you think it is not something that is desirable, this is something you don't have a choice over, because the consequences are built in it. Without that sense of national unity, without that sense of cooperation, without that sense of having an identity from your nation based on something that you guys are good at, you're going to suffer wherever you go. Soccer is the only thing that we have been able to have credit for all over the world. But I think this can extend to engineering, it can extend to IT, it can extend to business, marketing, engineering, manufacturing. it can extend to agriculture and other industries. It is a possibility. This has to become a pursuit and the American dream that we all celebrate. You can create yours and call it the Cameroon dream, and that becomes what we celebrate when you hit that mark or lift the nation towards these industries that will bring about transformation and put your nation on the mark. India is doing it. South Korea is doing it. China is doing it. And I just want to let you know, you too can do it. Steve Jobs said in his words, I quote, "Everything you see around you called life was created by those who are not smarter than you." And don't let anybody, no matter how articulate they are, no matter how smart they are, dim your light. No matter their rhetorics, their words, how they are able to convey a message, don't let that dim your light. Let your light shine. No matter where you find yourself in the world, let your light shine. No matter the state that you're living in, maybe you don't even have a pair of shoes, still let your light shine. Maybe you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, but let your light shine. You probably don't understand the state of your life right now. You're in a hospital, dying, sick, broke, frustrated. I say, let your light shine. We never know what will come out of you. And the little we can do is celebrate, encourage that gift that is in you. We don't know what that gift can do to the world. And so, Cameroonians, stand with CY International. Listen to him. Believe in what God has put in his heart. And as you do that, other nations will love you as you love yourselves. Other nations will partner with you based on how you partner within yourselves. Other nations will want to look at you based on how you look at yourself. The Jewish community, like people talk about, oh, the 80-20, what does that even mean? If you read the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation, it is all about the 80-20 concepts. It is all about God trying to separate the Israelites from the rest of the world and empowering them so that they can be the light of the world. That is the history of the Bible. God telling Abraham, leave, and I'm going to raise you up, and so that I can make you an example for the whole world to see. That is the story. David and Goliath, a small nation, becoming a beacon of hope. A small nation with very, very few soldiers, and God raising them up to bring about transformation to the entire world. That story is your story. That story should inspire you to forgive yourself, to believe in yourself, to let go of the past, to not blame anyone for your own decisions, to not blame anyone for where you find yourself, and take complete responsibility for your life. It is not a cooperative effort. It is a unanimous effort. Every individual must take responsibility, and then cooperatively, we can be able to see the world differently. Imagine, I'm starting a business, building a company or doing something, and everyone comes in believing that it all depends on them for that to work. Guess what happens? We'll come in there with different energy. But if we come in hoping that somebody else is to be blamed for our problems, someone else is a cause, and until we get that person, or until we put that person down, we won't succeed, or until that person endorses us, we won't win. Guess what happens? The company is going to fail because of the mindset. But if every Cameroonian show up on the table saying, I am the reason why I'm here, but most importantly, I can change it. I can move forward and make a difference. That mindset is what we need to bring about transformation. All the great minds in America that make the world what we see today have that spirit. Believe that if it ought to be, it is up to me. So, the Jewish story is well documented. God has always separated his children, even right here in this nation. So, but our country, we've not had that orientation. We haven't had that education. We haven't been taught on how to love ourselves. We haven't been taught how to cooperate among ourselves. And I think the message CY is preaching is actually a gospel that will be written someday, just like how John the Baptist and other great theologians cried out and say, children, come back to God. Come back to God. Separate yourself from the world and be one. And that idea is not saying you're against other people. It is saying, let's come together, because we coming together, we can even partner with other people better. We can negotiate with other nations better. We can do business fairly and trade with other nations and be able to go back with something because of that unanimous effort that we had towards loving ourselves, building ourselves, creating products that serve us. And that transformation came as a result of that. I don't know what you think, but I would love to end here by saying, if it ought to be, it's up to us. Great leaders are misunderstood, and we should be able to identify one when they show up. Let's love ourselves. Let's erase the great ones that rise among us. Let's let their light shine and praise them for who God has created them to be. And with that, transformation will come rapidly when we start celebrating our heroes. They might have been in one class with you. They might have been in the same classroom with you. They might have lived in they might have been maybe the neighbor next door. They might have probably come from a struggling background. I don't know. Celebrate them. Celebrate the gift that you see in them for the betterment of the entire nation. And not just for them that you know them, but see what God is doing through them and celebrate it. And that is my message for you regarding CY. Let love lead.